So you'll have to forgive me for the fact that when I heard the theme of Wired for Wonder this year was in and out, I just had to co-opt it for the title of my talk in a topic-relevant way. I'm also very pleased to be following the amazing Rachel Botsman, whom I've known for quite a long time, because I would ask you to bear in mind, as you hear my talk, that I and my team are doing everything Rachel has just talked about in an area where nobody else is doing it and an area where nobody thought it could be done. I date younger men. They tend to be men in their 20s. And through dating younger men, about 7 or 8 years ago, I began realizing that I was encountering an issue that would, quite honestly, never have crossed my mind if I had not encountered it very intimately and personally. I realized I was encountering what happens when two things converge. When today's total freedom of access to hardcore porn online meets our society's equally total reluctance to talk openly and honestly about sex, and results in porn becoming, by default, the sex education of today in not a good way. So I found myself encountering a number of sexual behavioral memes. I went, whoa, I know where that behavior is coming from. I thought, gosh, if I'm experiencing this, other people must be as well. And being a very action-oriented person, I went, I want to do something about this. So 6.5 years ago, I put up on no money a tiny, clunky little website at makelovenotporn.com that posts the myths of hardcore porn and balances them with reality. The construct is porn world versus real world. I had the opportunity to launch Make Love Not Porn at TED, which I've been going to for a number of years. I took a deliberate decision to be very explicit in my TED talk because I knew that audience would not get this issue unless I was very straightforward about it. As a result, I am to this day the only TED speaker to have uttered the words, "come on my face," on the TED stage, 6 times in succession. The talk went viral as a result, and it drove an extraordinary response that, quite frankly, I had never anticipated. And the most extraordinary thing was not just instantly huge traffic to the site from every country in the world, but the most extraordinary thing is that every single day for the past 6.5 years, and this is ongoing, I have received thousands of emails to my Make Love Not Porn inbox, and they come from everybody. They come from young and old, male and female, straight and gay, every country in the world. And even before the actual site that I put up, what amazes people is simply the fact I stood on the stage in public, I talked about I'm doing something about what everybody knows and no one ever speaks about. And as a result, people feel able to tell me anything. They pour their hearts out to me in email. They tell me things about their sex lives and their porn-watching habits they've never told anyone else before. They write for advice, 15-year-old boys write, 15-year-old women write. And it was the sheer impact of all of those emails arriving, day after day after day, that eventually made me feel that I now had a personal responsibility. I had to take this initiative forwards in a way that would make it much more far-reaching, helpful, and effective. So what I always have to emphasize is that Make Love Not Porn is not anti-porn because the issue isn't porn. The issue is this total absence of an open, healthy, honest conversation around sex in the real world, which, if we had it, would, among many other benefits, also mean people would then bring a real-world mindset when they view what is simply artificial entertainment. Our tagline is pro-sex, pro-porn, pro-knowing the difference. And our mission is purely and simply to help make it easier to talk about sex. Talk about sex openly and honestly in the public domain, and talk about it openly and honestly privately in your intimate relationships. So what I decided to do, therefore, was to take every dynamic that exists out there in social media currently and apply them to the one area that no other social network or platform is ever going to go, in order to socialize sex, to make real-world sex and the discussion around it socially acceptable, and therefore just as socially shareable as anything else we currently share on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram. So 2.5 years ago, my team and I launched MakeLoveNotPorn.tv. This is an entirely user-generated, crowdsourced video sharing platform that celebrates real-world sex. It's a .com site brought to life. I'm a big believer in communication through demonstration. So anybody from anywhere in the world can submit videos of themselves having real-world sex. And we're very clear what we mean by this. We're not porn. We're not amateur. We're building a whole new category that does not currently exist. Our competition isn't porn. It's Facebook and YouTube, or it would be, if Facebook and YouTube allowed sexual self-expression and self-identification. So real-world sex videos that make love, not porn, are not about performing for the camera. They're just about doing what you do on any other social platform, which is capturing what goes on in the real world in all its funny, messy, glorious, silly, wonderful, beautiful humanness. We curate, we watch a video to make sure it's real, we don't publish it unless it is, and we are part of the collaborative economy. I believe the business model of the future is shared values plus shared action equals shared profit, financial profit and social profit. This is what my other startup, If We Ran the World, is designed to help businesses achieve, and I designed Make Love Not Porn around that business model. So you pay to rent and stream real-world sex videos, and then 50% of that income goes to you, our contributor, or as we like to call you, our Make Love Not Porn star. Because we want our Make Love Not Porn stars one day to be as celebrated as YouTube stars for the same reasons. Their authenticity, their individuality, their realness, and we want them to make just as much money. We want to hit the kind of critical mass where one day your Make Love Not Porn video could hit 1 million rentals at $5 per rental, and we give you half of that revenue. Now, when I embarked on this venture, I had no idea that my team and I would fight a battle every single day to build it. Essentially because every piece of business infrastructure any other startup can at least take for granted, we can't because the small print always says no adult content. And this is particularly challenging in the entire financial area. I can't get banked. I can't find a bank anywhere in the world that will allow me to open a business bank account for a business that does what we do. Putting payments in place is a nightmare. PayPal refuses to work with us. And actually, this permeates all through finding tech services to host us, finding partners to send emails out with. Everything is a huge problem. Regardless, we have done very well. Imagine how much better we'd do if we didn't have those problems. At 2.5 years old, we have over 400,000 members. We're a global platform. Our second highest source of traffic after the US is China. I'm happy to say that when I was here 4 weeks ago doing interviews and speaking, Australia rocketed to number 3. You've fallen back to number 5. Guys, following this, let's get back up there. We began making money on day 1. Our monthly income is low, but in a world where the received wisdom is nobody pays for porn, they're paying for real-world sex. A number of our Make Love Not Porn stars are making 4 figures at each payout. We are the answer to the economy. And we are working. A 23-year-old guy wrote to us a few months ago and said, I love your site. I've been looking for something like this for a very long time. He said, your site makes me want to have sex in a more grown-up, honest, and respectful way. And so I am fighting the battle we fight very publicly because the answer to everything that worries people about porn and sex is not to shut down, censor, clamp down, block, repress. It's to open up. Open up the dialogue in the way that we're helping to with Make Love Not Porn. Open up to welcoming, supporting, and funding entrepreneurs who want to disrupt this world for the better, and open up to allowing us to do business on the same terms as everybody else. And so that is why, Australia, I'm asking you to do something that nobody else will ask you. I'm asking you to start sex tech ventures, to fund sex tech ventures, to support sex tech ventures, and to become a global center of sex tech. What do I mean by sex tech? Technology and tech ventures that innovate and disrupt in the area of sex and human sexuality. Why should you start a sex tech venture? Well, this is Peter Thiel, first investor in Facebook, the co-founder of PayPal. This is from his book, 0 to 1, where he says, the question he always asks is, what valuable company is nobody else building? Secrets about people are relatively underappreciated. What are people not allowed to talk about? What is forbidden or taboo? The best problems to work on are often the ones nobody else even tries to solve. The reason we're doing what we're doing is because the average age day at which a child is first exposed to hardcore porn online is 8. And a global study done a couple of years ago indicates that age may well have dropped to 6. This is not because 8-year-olds and 6-year-olds go looking for porn. They don't. It's a function of what, in the digital world we live in today, is utterly inevitable and cannot be prevented no matter how hard you try. They stumble across it. And this is happening at a time when parents still find it enormously difficult to talk to their kids about sex. And back in my day, if you wanted the parents prepared to at least try and have the conversation used to be purely logistical. So the conversation used to be, this goes into this, when a man loves a woman, the birds and the bees. The conversation to have today as a parent goes, darling, we know you're online. We know you're seeing porn. We just need to explain to you that actually not all women like being tied up, bound, gangbanged, raped, choked, and have men come all over them. And actually, not all men like doing that either. 99.9% parents are not having that conversation, and they need to. And that's why I'm raising funding at the moment for an expansion of Make Love Not Porn to be what I call the Khan Academy of Sex Education. Khan Academy tutors on every topic under the sun except this one. And so we want to build Make Love Not Porn Academy, same principles, user-generated, crowdsourced revenue sharing. Sex educators from all around the world can contribute their materials, their coursework, videos. We'll publish segmented by age appropriateness. You know, if you're a parent going, oh my God, my 7-year-old just asked about this, what do I do? You can go here. If you're a teacher, because teachers are using MakeLoveNotPorn.com in classrooms, they don't have the materials either, you can go here. If you're an adult, you can go there. And we will charge to download, own, subscribe, bulk buy as schools. And we will split the revenue 50-50 with its creators. Because right now, nobody goes into sex education to make money. I'd like to change that. And it's important to bear in mind when I talk about sex tech that I'm not talking about porn. TechCrunch wrote a piece about us back in April where the journalist said, the internet and the tech industry as a whole has polarized into 2 separate independent fiefdoms, porn and non-sexual content. There is little to no room for anything in between. There is a huge, huge market in the in-between, which is where Make Love Not Porn is pioneering. Sexual content that isn't porn. And that's where the huge opportunity for sex tech lies. And there, what sells is what has always sold, individual creative vision. Your ideas, your concepts, bring them to sex tech because there is so much room for innovation. Why invest in sex tech? Why fund sex tech? Well, as Peter Diamandis, the founder of SpaceX, the X Prize, Singularity University, says in his book, Bold, the world's biggest problems equal the world's biggest opportunities. We have huge problems to do with the fact we don't talk about sex, and that represents huge opportunity. Let me tell you, every other big bet ever made in the history of tech pales against sex tech. Oh my God, guys, the money to be made. But the money to be made in 2 areas, the second one of which nobody ever thinks about because right now nobody even thinks it's possible. The first area is obviously the money to be made out of sex. We all have it, we all enjoy it, recession-proof, market never goes away. But the second area, oh my God, the money to be made out of socially acceptable sex. When you do what we're doing with Make Love Not Porn, socialize sex, make it socially acceptable and socially shareable, you potentially double, triple, quadruple your returns when you normalize people feeling really okay about publicly buying into your goods and services, publicly doing what they do with everything else, advocate, share, recommend, and publicly badging themselves as brand ambassadors. That's the trillion-dollar financial future we're going after. And the proof of how viable that is out there right now. Because at this moment in time, the single highest income-grossing author in the world is E.L. James. The author of 50 Shades of Grey has out-earned Dan Brown, Michael Crichton, Jim Patterson. 50 Shades, the movie, broke box office opening weekend records. That is the financial power of socially acceptable, socially shareable sex. Now, obviously, working in sex tech, funding sex tech, supporting sex tech isn't easy. I'm doing what I tell all entrepreneurs to do. I'm creating a new market. TechCrunch totally gets this. Socially acceptable sex is a huge market. More interestingly, it's a huge new market. And therefore, what I have to do is, when you have a truly world-changing startup, you have to change the world to fit it, not the other way around. I am creating the conditions for my own success. I'm championing sex tech everywhere I go because I'm in the Steve Jobs business of reality distortion. Reality tells me that I can't scale and grow my startup to be the billion-dollar venture I know it can be. I'm going to change reality. Mark Andreessen, again, one of the biggest names in Silicon Valley, partner in Andreessen Horowitz, said about successful entrepreneurs, he said, you have to have this quality. Can you not just see the future, but summon it? This is particularly the case for sex tech. You have to see the future, and then you have to summon it. My favorite quote of all time is Alan Kay, who said, in order to predict the future, you have to invent it. I am all about inventing the future. Too many people feel the future is something that happens without us, rolls us over in its wake. I'm all about decide what you want the future to be and make it happen. And by the way, guys, that is what Wired for Wonder is all about. Every one of you in this room, in this theater, has the potential to make this happen, to go out there and redesign your world, your business, your life, to be whatever you want it to be. And so I don't wait for things to change. People say to me, oh, Cindy, when do you think we'll be more open about sex? I don't wait for things to change, I make them change. And so I'm absolutely serious in saying to you, I would love to open up your minds around this area where Silicon Valley welcomes innovation disruption in every other area of our lives and work except this one. This is the one that needs it desperately. Because the next big thing in tech is not just disrupting sex, it's changing the world through sex. Because we don't talk about sex, we've defaulted it to an act, to something we do. It's not. Sex is personality. Our sexuality is the most fundamental part of our humanity. It informs everything about how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about other people, our relationships, our lives, our happiness. Our failure to be open and honest about sex lies at the root of many societal ills. It lies at the heart of rape culture, at the heart of sexual abuse, sexual violence. It lies behind broken marriages, failed relationships. Sex tech is how we help achieve world peace. I'm not kidding. When we are all having more sex, more better sex, owning our sexuality, the world will be a happier place, and we'll be one step closer to world peace. And so I really want to put this call out to you, Australia, because one of the things that we want to do with Make Love Not Porn is we want to help countries reclaim their national sexual identity, because every country has one. A national heritage, national values, national stereotypes exist around sex as much as they do around other forms of behavior like cooking or eating. It's just we don't talk about it. But anyone who's ever shagged their way around the world can testify. People make love differently based on the culture, society, country they come from, or rather they used to. Because porn is now homogenizing sex globally. And so I would like to see this dialogue open up at a national level, because everything starts with you and your values. When I say to people, what are your sexual values, nobody knows how to answer, but it's crucially important that you have them. Many of us, if we're fortunate, are born into families and environments where our parents bring us up to have good manners, a work ethic, a sense of responsibility, accountability. Nobody ever brings us up to behave well in bed, but they should, because empathy, sensitivity, generosity, kindness are as important there as they are in any other area of our life and work where we are actively taught to exercise those values. And so we want to help countries reclaim their national sexual identity because we would like to inspire a sense of national pride in how Australia has real-world sex, what your values are around real-world sex, and by the way, we wouldn't mind instilling a sense of national competitiveness. We would like the Olympics of real-world sex playing out on Make Love Not Porn. And, I will just say, I would also love Australia to fund us. Open-minded investors, please contact me, cindy@makelovenotporn.com. I'd love to talk. CommBank, I'd love a bank account. Can we talk? Seriously, you've heard what I'm doing. And I really hesitate to end in the same way that John Sweeney did for a much more obvious cause, but if every single person in this theatre went to Make Love Not Porn at TV and spent $5 to rent a real-world sex video, you would really help us. So please make Aussie love not porn. Let's get Australia back up to a top traffic source. And please actively think about becoming a sex tech entrepreneur, funding sex tech, supporting sex tech, and making Australia the new global sex tech venture. Thank you very much.